What's going on, everybody? You know what time it is, so let's get started. It's your boy, Professor J. Yes, I'm riding solo again tonight, holding it down for all the fellas. You know how we do, making sure everything is on the up and up. So tonight we got your post Power Play Fantasy Football Show, and I'm coming to you live or yet pre-recorded. You never know how we do. But anyway, you guys, I hope you had a marvelous week. As customary, you know, we have our live Facebook page. We have our Positions on Sports Talk Show YouTube channel, and you can also find us by the same name on Twitch. We are your sports guys. We're fans. We bring that perspective of fans, and we make sure you know that we are lifelong sports fans. So tonight I'll be sharing with you some of the greatest from last week when we look at the top dogs from fantasy football. Then we're going to look ahead to who are going to be our sleepers this week, our quick hitters, quiet storms, and closers. And then, of course, I got those sensible picks for you. And we're going to give a little bit of commentary right there because Sense and I have been going back and forth today about some of his for show starts and some of his for show sit-ems. So I'm going to go through that in just a few minutes. Of course, I'm going to give you your injury reports tonight. So make sure if you have any Jags or Bengals that are playing that might have found their way on this list, then of course you might want to plan accordingly. So let's get started. Shout out to my fellas from Post. Love you guys. Hope you guys are doing well on this evening. Make sure you got your lineups ready to go to the rest of the league. Let's get it this week. Some of us are coming off of our first wins of the season. Some of us are on that serious slide where we might be 0-3. But just know the year that I won, I think it was about 3 or 4 years ago, the year that I won the entire league, I started 0-4 and I won every last game after that. It's called making adjustments. So you got to be real about who you like and how you do things, because you can't be a homer and keep putting those folks in. You got to make sure you put the best players for that time. Do your homework, read the reports, look at different outlets. Don't just look at ESPN or Yahoo Fantasy. Look at CBS Sports. Look at the other outlets that are out there. Look at NFL.com. I mean, this is the way to go. So just trust me on that and you will be just fine. So to J Wheels, to J3, Big Reg, to Ed, and Sense, I got this, fellas. So let's get to the injury reports. So we got Josh Jacobs again for the second week in a row. Unlike last week, he actually did practice today. So he is expected to be a go during showtime. Curtis Samuel, he's got the groin. He practiced today on Thursday, practiced yesterday as well. They didn't give a whole lot about how he's looking in practice. I would say that he's limited with that groin injury that he had since before May. So he might see some action on Sunday. I know we have a person not to be named in our league that has Curtis Samuel. I would say be careful. I wouldn't rush him back too soon. Julio Jones, hamstring. A.J. Brown, hamstring. So we're going to put them together because they both play on the same team. Those hamstring injuries can be tricky, y'all. And as you can see, neither one of them looked great last week. And when they don't look good, the Titans will struggle. You can't put the entire weight on Derrick Henry. So these guys are dealing with that. Their explosiveness, you know, getting up the field, being able to cut, all of those things, you know, running their routes, all of those things are affected by a hamstring. So be wise about whether you play them this week or not. Use a lot of caution. That's all I'm going to say. Yes, I know they're playing against the Jets, but still, it's more about their ability to do what they need to do to play at their greatness. But I just don't see it with hamstring injuries. But just be careful. Antonio Gibson, all right, he's dealing with a shin issue now. So it was his shoulder before, now it's a shin issue. Word out is that he had a guard on that shin, kind of like soccer style, so it doesn't get kicked and he doesn't hurt. I don't expect him to not play. I expect him to be his same explosive and dangerous self. So Antonio Gibson has a shin issue. Darius Slayton, for the Giants, and also Sterling Shepard for the Giants. Again, grouping them together. They both have hamstrings as well. So be very cautious. That's all I can say. Those injuries can linger for an entire season. And I've seen players not be the same. I mean, you can look at Julio Jones's performance from last year. He was dealing with some of the same injuries, foot, hamstring, different things. So who knows? But use caution. Rob Gronkowski, if you saw that nasty hit that he took against the Rams, he has a rib injury, of course. So, of course, it's going to be hard for Gronk to take them big shots. People are going to be looking for him. They're not going to be head hunting. They're going to be rib hunting. But, Big Boy is going to suit up and play. He has played hurt just about his entire career, and still he and Brady are able to connect in the red zone. So if you have tight end Rob Gronkowski, I would go ahead and play him no matter what. He's still good as a red zone threat, and that the Bucs will get there behind Tom Brady. Same with the Bucs. Antonio Brown, he's off of the reserve COVID-19 list, so he's expected to play. So I'm looking forward to him to being able to run up the field, do his thing. Brady will look for him, whether he's a decoy or the actual man to throw to. I expect him to at least get one score and at least 60, 65 yards. Darrell Henderson Jr., ribs, but he's coming back. He was in practice on Wednesday, practice today. So they're looking for him to be a full go. Bad news for people that like Sony Michel, because his carries will be taken down again. I will say this. I don't think Sony Michel is going to get, less than 5 or 6 carries. He might even get up to 10, because you don't want to really rush Henderson back unless he's just showing you that he's feeling no ill effects of those ribs. But we shall see. I have Sony Michel. He is benched this week. I mean, in that backfield, Henderson is king. I mean, I can only hope for, he's not 100%. Or maybe he's 75% and Sony will get more of the carries, but I can't bank on that, so he will be benched this week. Jumping ahead a little bit, right? Jamison Crowder, groin. He's been dealing with the same issue all year, plays for the Jets. I wouldn't even have him on my team, but if you do, you should sit him. T. Higgins ruled out for week 4. So trust me, I got to say this. There are a lot of people don't even check this stuff. You got T. Higgins on your team. You didn't look at the injury report. You think he's playing this week, and then you don't look until game time when everything is locked and you can't make changes. Listen to me. Get him out of your lineup now. He's out for week 4, okay? Check your rosters on a daily basis. Make changes. That's what makes the leagues fun. There's nothing worse than playing against somebody who did an auto draft after they swore to you that they were going to play the entire season, and then you also see they're not making any roster changes. So please, folks that are in everybody's league that are like that, please knock it off and be active in the league, or next year you will not get invited. Just trust me on that. James White, same thing. He's out for the season, not just for the game. He has a hip injury. He is out. So if you have James White, please put him on IR and get you another available running back, or look at some viable trades within your league. So next week, we'll start talking about trades a little bit and kind of analyzing what some people have been doing, even some of the trades that people have been trying to push in our league. Some of them went through, some of them did not. So, as the commission, I always got to give my 2 cents about things. We had one individual that really tried to fleece someone in the league, and I had to really give my opinion on that. It knocked all of that off. All right, Jonathan Taylor. He has a knee injury. He did log some limited practice time on Wednesday. No word if he actually practiced today, but knee injuries can be tricky as well. I mean, Jonathan Taylor is a really good running back, and if it's not a serious knee injury, then of course he should be fine. But hopefully, that doesn't linger throughout the season, because knee injuries can get worse over time. Juju Smith-Schuster, also rib injury, but he logged some limited practice time this week as well. So look for him to play. He should get his touches, but again, use caution with him. You do have other weapons on that team, but Big Ben, it's not looking too great these last couple of weeks. So the wide receivers are suffering right now, but I look for that team to get it together. All right. So that's your pertinent injury report. Of course, there are others out there, but we try to give you the most important players of several fantasy leagues so that you can make adjustments and plan accordingly. So let's look at the top dogs for this past week. So we got to go with Cooper Kupp. Cooper Kupp is now the NFC offensive player of the month. This wide receiver is balling. You can't tell me Matthew Stafford and he don't have this intimate connection that you're going to see them rough riding people this entire year. So he might get more top dog honors as the year goes on. Then I can't mention him without giving love to his quarterback, Matthew Stafford. No longer a Lion, Matthew Stafford. That's how I got to say it. He is no longer a Lion. It's like being released from purgatory. He's always been a great quarterback. Check the stats. In Georgia, when he played for the Bulldogs, check the stats when he played for the Lions. See, he played for a sorry team, so people never thought that Matthew Stafford was any good. They get national games on Thanksgiving. That was about it. They didn't have many other national games, so the country, the world did not see what this man can do. Now, everybody is seeing what I've known since the dude was in college of what he can actually do. All he really had was Megatron. He might have had a couple of other fringe type Pro Bowl receivers, but that all pro was all that he had. Now you're seeing he got weapons. I told y'all about Deshaun Jackson. I don't really like the dude because he stole money from Washington. But if you look at his body of work from Philly all the way from the East Coast all the way to the West Coast, the man can ball as long as he stays healthy. But Matthew Stafford is using all of those weapons. So look for him to have more top dog honors and to continue to eat. The next one, I could say the same thing, Lamar Jackson, shocking the world. He finally got that monkey off of his back, Steve Young. He beat the Kansas City Chiefs. And I'm expecting more from him because he doesn't really have that running game that he would love to be able to protect him and save his legs. But he's doing all right so far. And he's going to continue to be a top dog until somebody figures him out. But he still claims the league still hadn't figured him out. And I agree with him on that. So sleepers for this week. Joe Burrow, I got to go with Burrow. He's going up against the Jaguars defense. I mean, this is not that vaunted defense of many years ago, okay? They're done. They got rid of most of their people. I think Jack is the only one that's still there, and I think he's toying around with some injuries. Wink, wink, right? He probably looking to get his way out of there. Hey, Jack, you can come on up to Washington because we got some serious need for some serious linebackers. I'm just saying. So Joe Burrow, he should utilize Boyd, Chase, and Mixon to the max. So I expect them to cruise against the Jaguars. Oh, gave you a prediction too early because we got to get to who you got. That's at the end where we'll predict tonight's game. But I'm so excited that I got to give it to you early sometimes. The next sleeper, Kyle Pitts, tight end, Falcons. I just said it. He's playing against the Washington football team, and they cannot cover tight ends. Kyle Pitts has not had a really great game yet. He'll probably have a breakout game against this team because they cannot cover tight ends. And the moment that you try to put a safety on him, that's going to open up the deep ball, which this team has been susceptible to. And I don't think it gets that much better this week because Atlanta is going to have to sling that rock. Matty Ice is getting the ball out quicker this year. His yards per throw are down, but they are making the plays, and his QBR and his percentages are up as well. They may as well feast on this Washington defense. And I know since you don't like that, but I got a little nugget for you in just a few minutes. Okay, Najee Harris, I still think he's a good sleeper for this week. With Big Ben automatically struggling. I mean, yeah, Ben came out looking good. Game 1, he looked good. But these last couple, they've really been struggling. And Najee is going to have to pick up that slack and become that premier back that they need him to be. All right, now the quick hits. Stephon Diggs, wide receiver Bills versus the Texans. Don't need to go into that. Deebo Samuel, wide receiver 49ers against the Seahawks. The Legion of Boom is gone, y'all, so no need to go into that. Yeah, you got Adams and you got my linebacker. Oh, why am I forgetting his name? Why am I drawing a blank? Wagner, Bobby Wagner. But other than that, that defense is not scary. And San Francisco has weapons, son. All right. Antonio Gibson, need I say more? Doesn't matter how he's hurt. See how that young man, he had a quick hitter last week too, right? That's why I still got him here. He can go for 80 yards anytime he touches the rock. That's that quick hit ability that I'm looking for, and he should do it again against this Falcons defense. Snicker, right? All right, quiet storm. Okay, Sense, you're going to like this, all right? I got the Washington football team defense and special teams versus the Falcons. The reason why the special teams has been playing a lot better, and I'm talking about in recent years. If it was just defense alone, I wouldn't have them as a quiet storm. But that special teams is really doing a much better job this year, and they're earning those paychecks in Washington. But the defensive front four should get home against this depleted Falcons offensive line. Matty Ice is going to have to get the ball out quicker, which means that we're going to see quite a few 3-and-outs. But I also think he's going to burn them a couple of times because of the secondary and the linebacker play. So as long as we can get that stout pass rush and that run stopping ability from our two plugs from Alabama up the middle, then we should do a fine job on defense as long as we can tackle after those Falcons receivers make receptions. Because Matty Ice can get the ball and he can sling it to them. We have to make those tackles and prevent those big gains and those first downs. So I give them the quiet storm by an edge. So Sense, you should like that because I'm giving love to the hometown Washington football team defense. Next quiet storm is Jonathan Taylor, and I mentioned him before. He's got a little lingering injury, got the knee, but against the Dolphins, this defense showed out week 1, but really hasn't been much since. They've been okay, right? But I expect Jonathan Taylor to be able to run the ball against the Dolphins because they're reeling. I know Brissett is a decent backup quarterback, don't get me wrong, but they're not going much of anywhere with him at the helm and the things they got going on down there. But there's still promise for the Dolphins. Last one is Kareem Hunt, running back Browns. It's going up against the Vikings. See, everybody gives everything to Nick Chubb, and it's well-deserved. But Kareem Hunt is also that guy that anytime he can catch out the backfield, like my man Antonio Gibson, or he can sneak between them tackles, and all of a sudden, boom, he's gone. That's my man there. So in between the tackles, catching out the backfield on swing passes and stuff, Kareem Hunt will be dangerous. So let's get to our closers, and there's no explanation needed. Tom Brady, Dak Prescott, Patrick Mahomes. Anybody want to argue with me on those? Tom Brady, revenge game, boom, crushing the Patriots. Dak Prescott, it pains me. He's playing well. He's going to shine against the Packers. And then Patrick Mahomes is going to get off the schneid, as Boomer would say, against the Eagles, whose defense is really suspect after you saw the Cowboys put up a 40-piece on them. All right, sensible picks. Let's get into them. As Sense would say, yes. Now, he need to get back on here and do that because I'm tired of doing it. This is your spot, Sense. I need you to do your sensible picks. I need you to be on here with me, man. Make time in your schedule. We're busy, too. I had to mess with my bro cuz on that real quick. So let's get into it. For show stars, Chuba Hubbard. I always want to call him Chubba, right? Chub Rock. Chuba Hubbard is the way to say it versus the Cowboys. He's got to take up the slack because of Christian McCaffrey. Christian McCaffrey, seeming like as great as he is, he's just fragile. More on him later. Joe Burrow versus the Jaguars. Need I say more? Stop. Deebo Samuel. We talked about him versus the Cardinals. Odell Beckham Jr. versus the Vikings. He's due. Coming back from injury, long layoff, go ahead and feast on the Vikings a little bit. And then, of course, start the Washington football team defense and special teams. Again, I lean hard on that special teams part, which to me is what justifies starting them. But for Sense, he has a little more analysis. He'll tell you himself next week. All right, and now for the sit them downs. All right, so nah, son, definitely sit these down. Daniel Jones versus the Saints. Saints defense, great defense. Daniel Jones will try to do a little bit too much, minus his two receivers. Even if they play, they got the hamstrings. I still don't think Saquon is back to 100%. They still got him on the pitch count. So Daniel Jones will try to do too much to his detriment because he still fumbles. He still throws interceptions. Myles Gaskins versus the Colts. Y'all can analyze that one for yourself. Christian Kirk, LA Rams, got Jalen Ramsey. Okay, I get it. Chase Poole versus the Packers. Packers defense trying to step up. I personally still don't see them stopping the Golden Dome or Chase Poole, Claypool. You know, he's from Notre Dame. He's a beast. He can get the ball against any corner. But he says sit him. So follow him as much as you can. Jonnu Smith versus the Buccaneers. Yeah, the offense for the Patriots is going to just struggle against the Buccaneers. They looked terrible last week, and the Bucs coming off of a loss, they're going to come for that dome. So I'm not feeling that. And sit the Patriots defense and special teams. They playing the Buccaneers. Again, revenge game. Advantage Brady. Just trust us on that. All right, so our fantasy flame out of the week is Christian McCaffrey. I'm not even going to go into that. He's a great player, but he's fragile. And see, if he was a brother, we'll be trashing him, so he got to get the same treatment. You got to stay healthy, Chris. Get into LeBron James's program or something, or anybody in the NFL that really watches their body and stays healthy for the most part. All right, so who you got tonight, Jags or Bengals? I can tell you right now, I already told you earlier, Bengals. There's going to be too much Burrow, too much Chase, too much Boyd, too much Mixon. I would actually throw in Nas' son, sit him, Trevor Lawrence. Sit him. I seen this Bengals defense when they played in special teams preseason when they were here in Washington. We saw it live. We were at the game. They're not bad. And Trevor has a propensity now to throw a lot of interceptions. He's just uncomfortable. I would sit him because he's going to cost you if you start. All right? So whoever you got tonight, make sure you put them in. Get ready to play. This is serious. It is Thursday night football, even though many of us will not agree with the matchup that they put in. It's too early to flex them out, right? But anyway, enjoy the game tonight. Give us your feedback on all our social media posts. We would love to hear from each and every one of you. Interact with us. Join the shows. Everything. Hey, y'all. We love you. God bless you. And stay safe and take care. Professor out. Peace.